want us to just start with the protocols to just recognize who is here and appreciate their presence. First of all, our chief guest, whom we are expecting very soon, on behalf of the National Treasury PS, Kamau Thuge, we are going to have Esther Koimet, who is going to join us here very shortly. Next, Dr. Engineer Joseph Joroge, the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum. Kengen board members, led by our very able chairman, Mr. Joshua Choge. Members of the board of the NSC who are present here, led by their chairman, Samuel Kimani. Kengen MD and CEO, Engineer Albert Mugo. We are also honored to have our former chairman for Kengen, Mr. Titus Badley, who is here with us today. And also the former chairman for the NSC, who also happens to be the immediate former MD for Kengen, Edward Joroge. We also have with us here the chairman of GTC, Gershon Otachi. This CMA CEO, whom we all know, Paul Mudaura. Rose Mambo, CDSC CEO. Members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. Good morning. Today is really a big day for Kengen. This process began at the launch of the rights issue, and most of you, as I see, were there. And now it culminates here at the NSC. And I just realized this morning that the NSC and Kengen actually were born in the same year, 1954. And today, we are both over 62 years old. If you look at that board, you'll see a number of messages. I believe that was when Geoffrey Odundo and his team were celebrating the big day. So it's really interesting for all of us to now converge at this particular venue. We will be taking this discussion online, and we are continuing with our hashtag, #IChooseKengen. So I implore upon all of you, those who are social media friendly, please log on and join us in this discussion. Without much ado, I would want to welcome on stage the CEO of NSC, Geoffrey Odundo. A round of applause for him.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the NSC. We've never seen a crowd this large, especially and comprising also the previous champions at Kengen and at the NSC. I think when I see Eddie here, it's amazing that the number of issues he's brought to market, and also being the CEO, being the chairman of the NSC, is just amazing. It's a history in its making. So we're glad to have you. Excuse our security arrangements. We wanted to make sure this issue is highly protected. But you're within a very expensive square mile. That just tells you all the president lives around us. So feel privileged to be here. So again, thank you for coming. We are delighted to have you. As the NSC, we are happy to see the Kengen rights issue become a huge success. Kengen for us has been what you call a catalyst in the market. When they came in 2006, they brought in a new feel, especially on the retail investment space, with their oversubscription on the Kengen IPO, which went from a listing price of 11 to 49. And that spurred the beginning of IPO oversubscriptions. We've never seen an era like that, and I think Kengen was really instrumental to delivering that. The Kengen PIBO that came in 2009 again, brought in for the very first time, a huge number of retail investors. Again, it just went on to bring another feeling in the market. We've not seen another time like that. And today, it's an historic day, the largest rights issue ever on our markets. I think the Kengen board and team, you deserve a very huge applause for that effort. So we are glad to have this listing today, and we are pretty confident that it only shows that capital markets continue to remain a viable channel for capital raising. And would like to encourage many, many companies to also tap into our markets. It also just shows how Kenyans are beginning to resonate with investments in their infrastructure projects. I was just sharing with the GDC, with the team upstairs. We went to Nigeria, and really, they envy what we're doing on our energy space. In Nigeria, when you get a job, part of your benefits is a generator. That was amazing. So I think we've done a good job. Chairman, former CEO. I think that the leadership you've given us in that direction has been awesome. So it's pretty nice to have all of you here today. We look forward to having a very successful listing. And we really want you to be part and witness this historic moment. So with those few welcome remarks, can you allow me to invite our regulator, Paul Muzaura, to come and make his remarks. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thankfully, I'll just skip ahead and say all protocols observed to save some time. And also to appreciate Jeff for covering some of the key milestones that Kengen has really walked through this market with, so I can really abbreviate my speech and save a bit of time. But I think certainly Kengen's journey has genuinely been a journey for the capital markets. We are marking today another very significant milestone in a decade of very significant reform and development in our market. As he mentioned, the IPO, more than 300% oversubscribed. That IPO introduced another almost 300,000 new investors coming into the public markets and really created this new energy that participating in the capital markets was not for the elite few. It became a genuinely retail opportunity to engage, to participate, to generate wealth. The PIBO really marked the introduction of electronic trading for debt markets in our market, and it really transformed our turnover ratios and moved us very much from what was a very nascent global bond market to having some of the most competitive turnover ratios on the continent, and certainly set a journey for us to move forward in the world. Now, in Kengen coming back to the market today, we really see this as a reassertion by Kengen of their critical role as a pace setter in using the capital markets to leverage financing to drive infrastructure growth. And I think as the authority, and it's a conversation we've long had with Albert and the team, is really that we continue to urge Kengen to continue to walk down this journey as a pace setter, as a trailblazer, to really start exploring what are the opportunities for alternative capital markets products that they'll be able to leverage to continue to grow on this journey. When you look at the phenomenal funding need in the infrastructure space in our country, we continue to see securitization or asset-backed securities as really the next step that's going to allow companies to raise long-term, sustainable, transparent capital off balance sheet to allow them to be much more strategic in the manner in which they're channeling funds, and also creating structures that can introduce or attract a much broader spectrum of potential investors coming into the market. In that context, the authorities have been working very aggressively with the National Treasury to make sure that asset-backed securitization can exist in as conducive an environment as possible. And therefore, I hope you're all aware that the Cabinet Secretary has already exempted all transfers of assets as part of a structuring of a real estate investment trust or asset-backed securitization from stamp duty, and is currently taking under consideration the exemption from VAT for the same kinds of transactions, which will really move us very progressively towards making asset-backed securitization a truly tax-neutral product that can support infrastructure growth and development. I think, as you may have heard during the Cabinet Secretary's budget statement just last month, he made reference to a program that's underway to enable all Kenyans to have universal access to safe water and sanitation by the year 2030, which is being coordinated by the Kenya Innovative Financing Facility for water. And they are one of the issuers who are already in discussions with the authority and looking at how we can use securitization and ABS to be able to effectively fund long-term sustainable infrastructure financing. I think in that context, I'm also very pleased to confirm that the authority has been working very constructively with the World Bank IFC at effecting a complete overhaul of the asset-backed securitization framework for the country to make sure that it can be sufficiently flexible to respond to different issuers' financing needs and structuring needs. We believe that with the implementation of those new statutory amendments and the supporting regulatory framework, certainly with the support of the National Treasury, we look forward to really seeing a much more conducive environment for infrastructure funding in line with the Capital Markets 10-year master plan. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I think the Kenya government must be commended for the support they have continued to show for the authority in developing and deepening the capital markets and ensuring that the capital markets will be able to play their genuine and effective role in supporting the meeting and delivery of the Vision 2030. And as such, as was said by Jeff, we really encourage more listed companies to follow in the footsteps of Kengen, to source funding for the public markets, and further urge many of the private companies and potential companies out there to come on board to look at the opportunities and structures that are available to raise market money through the domestic, regional, international public markets. Now, noting the central link between the attainment of the Vision 2030 and the success of devolution, the authority is working with the National Treasury towards the unveiling of a policy sensitization paper, which will be distributed to all county governments to help them better understand what are the avenues available to them to use project-based financing to leverage capital markets financing. This is certainly being supported by an extensive investor education and public awareness program, which has seen the authority hold forums, media campaigns, roadshows, and roundtables with county leadership, youth, women, investment groups, and community-based organizations across, as it stands now, 34 counties in this nation. Ladies and gentlemen, therefore, I wish to reaffirm the authority's commitment, with the support of the government, to providing a facilitative environment for issuers, investors, and market players to participate and prosper in the capital markets industry. The authority remains focused and committed to ensuring capital markets players really play their cardinal role in facilitating the realization of Vision 2030 and the delivery of the 10-year capital markets master plan. Therefore, in closing, on behalf of the board, management, and staff of the authority, I wish to very warmly congratulate Kengen for this very significant feat and look forward to continue to working with you to deepen and grow our capital markets. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. And now I want to welcome the man himself, the MD and CEO of Kengen, Engineer Albert Mugo. A round of applause.
Our chief guest, who will be representing the Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury, our Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum, Dr. Engineer Joseph Jeroge, the Chairman of the Nairobi Securities Exchange, Mr. Kimani, the CEO of CMA, Paul Mudhaura, who was just here, the board members of NSE, the board members of Kengen, and other invited guests. Before I make my remarks, I would like to first introduce my board members who are here. Please, if you can stand so that our guests can see you, I would like to recognize your presence. These are the board members of Kengen, and because they will not be able to make remarks, I would like you to see them because we've been working on this together, and please be seated. I would also like to recognize the Kengen staff who are here with us today. Please, if you can stand, just so that the guests can see you, the Kengen staff. Yeah, this is my team who have been working on this project, and we are here together to celebrate this morning. So please be seated. On behalf of Kengen, I'm pleased to welcome you here this morning to the bell ringing ceremony marking the start of trading in the new shares following our successful rights issue. Allow me at this point to record my appreciation to the government of Kenya for taking up its full rights through the conversion into equity of approximately 20.2 billion debt that Kengen owed the government. This noble gesture, right from the launch of the rights issue, greatly contributed to the impressive results of the whole transaction, as shareholders took the cue by participating. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all our shareholders for all their unwavering support and confidence in the company, because as we went for the roadshows and town house meetings, we experienced a lot of support from our shareholders. Ladies and gentlemen, Kengen has continued to post impressive financial results with huge rewards to the shareholders. And in 2015, for example, we allocated 1.429 billion to dividends, a 63% increase from what we'd paid in 2014, making our dividend one of the most competitive, reliable, and sustainable in the energy industry. And this is a testimony to the return on investment that our shareholders are assured of, and I want to urge them to continue supporting us in all our endeavors. During the financial year ended June 30th, 2015, because that's the latest we had audited, and we'll be auditing our just recently added year very soon, the company posted 11.5 billion profit after tax, representing a 308% growth from the 2.8 billion for 2014. And the company's pre-tax profit also grew by 109 to 8.7 billion, up from 4.2 billion in 2014, as we shifted focus to the reliable and environmentally friendly green energy sources, mainly geothermal, wind, which contributed as well to the reduction of electricity costs. This growth in profitability is attributed to the increase in stored capacity, improved performance and tax credit from the capital allowances following the commissioning of the 280 megawatts geothermal plants, the wellhead units, these are geothermal wellhead units, and the Gong Wind project. And of course, the total revenue grew by about 44% from 18.5 billion to 26.6 billion, with geothermal contributing 46%. At the same period, the installed capacity for Kengen grew from 1,264 megawatts in June 2014 to the current 1,589 megawatts. And the capacity from geothermal sources increased by about 164%, from 183 megawatts in June 2014 to 488 megawatts, while the wind recorded about 20, actually a big percentage of 120%, because we grew from 5 megawatts to about 26, which we have today. So overall, the energy sector witnessed remarkable growth in the year as our mega 280 megawatts project was inaugurated, adding the impetus to the government's 5,000 plus megawatts campaign to expand the power generation and access. So clearly, Kengen's ability to successfully plan, construct, and operate power plants is evident in its heavy investment in geothermal, whose installed capacity as of today